The Galactic Empire was no stranger to conquest. Across the galaxy, their elite assassin squad had a reputation that preceded them. Whispered tales of planets brought to their knees without a single alarm raised, entire governments toppled in the dead of night, and key figures vanishing without a trace. The Empire's assassins were like ghosts, and they were sent only when failure was not an option. On the planet Zephan, their latest mission had been swift. No one had seen them coming, and no one lived to tell the tale. The assassins moved with a precision that spoke of years of training, honed by countless successful operations. Now, the same squad was tasked with something far more dangerous: Earth. To the Galactic Empire, Earth was insignificant, a speck in the vastness of the universe. But the Empire had made the mistake of underestimating Earth's potential. In the Empire's eyes, Earth was primitive, technologically behind, with little to no threat. But Earth had something they couldn't measure: human determination. The Emperor wanted Earth's leaders gone. It was to be a clean sweep. The assassins would make their way in, eliminate the targets, and leave before anyone knew they were there. It was a task they had performed 100 times before. As the Empire's flagship neared Earth's orbit, plans were already in motion. On Earth, hidden within the shadows, the governments had learned of the incoming threat. They knew their chances were slim. But one thing stood between them and defeat, a secret as old as time itself. Earth's leaders didn't turn to advanced technology or weaponry to stop the assassins. No, they had something far more ancient and powerful: a ninja. While the Galactic Empire thrived on technology and superiority in numbers, the ninja embodied something different. Born from centuries of tradition and disciplined in ways the Empire could never understand, the ninja was the epitome of stealth and lethality. This wasn't about gadgets or flashy displays of power. It was about patience, skill, and the mastery of the shadows. The call came in the dead of night. The ninja, hidden from the eyes of the world, received the mission in silence. No words were exchanged. There was no need for them. The task was clear. The assassin squad would never see them coming. On the outskirts of a remote location, the ninja began to prepare. They had no armor, no advanced weapons, no spacecraft. All they carried were their trusted blades, their silence, and centuries of honed skill. For the ninja, the mission wasn't about glory or recognition. It was simply a duty, one that had been passed down through generations. The Galactic Empire's assassins were walking into a trap they could never escape. As the Empire's flagship hovered above, cloaked from Earth's primitive radars, the assassin squad prepared to descend. They believed they were untouchable, and in many ways, they had the technology to back it up. Camouflage systems, tracking devices, and neural enhancements made them formidable. But none of these things mattered to the ninja. To them, these technological advantages were distractions, weaknesses that would be exploited. The ninja infiltrated the Empire's ship undetected. The silence inside was deafening. Every step taken was calculated, every move designed to avoid detection. The ninja's senses were sharper than any scanner the Empire had. Every creak in the floor, every shift in the air, the ninja knew before it happened. In a world of noise and distractions, the ninja found power in silence. The Galactic Empire's assassins, stationed in different parts of the ship, began to feel something. It wasn't fear, not yet, but a shift in the air. They were trained to detect threats, but this was different. It was as if the shadows themselves were watching them. The ninja moved without a sound, observing, waiting for the perfect moment. One by one, the assassins fell. They didn't know what hit them. There were no alarms, no flashing lights. Each death was clean, efficient. The ninja's blades moved faster than the eye could see. The assassins, for all their tech, were no match for the ninja's centuries-old techniques. It wasn't a battle, it was a hunt. The assassin squad leader, a veteran of countless missions, began to sense something was wrong. The squad members weren't responding, and communication channels went silent. But even with his heightened senses, he couldn't detect the ninja. It was as if the shadows themselves had come alive. The leader ordered his remaining men to spread out, to sweep the ship, but it was too late. The ninja had already anticipated their moves. Every time the assassins thought they had the upper hand, the ninja was 2 steps ahead. Traps were laid, diversions created, and the ninja used their environment to its full advantage. They didn't need advanced technology or brute strength. All they needed was patience. As the assassin squad dwindled in numbers, the leader knew he was the only one left. Desperation began to creep in. He activated every defense system on the ship, scanners running at full capacity, but still, nothing showed up. The ninja was nowhere and everywhere all at once. In the final moments, the leader made his stand. He was not a coward. He had been trained to face death, and he wouldn't go down without a fight. But even as he readied his weapons, he knew it was futile. The ninja struck from the shadows, swift, and without mercy. The fight was over before it began. As the assassin leader's body crumpled to the floor, the ninja stood over him for a brief moment. There was no satisfaction in the kill, no sense of victory. This was simply the mission. Quietly, the ninja turned and disappeared into the darkness, leaving the Galactic Empire's once feared assassin squad in ruins. Back on Earth, no one would ever know the full story of what happened aboard the Empire's flagship. The Galactic Empire would never admit their defeat, and Earth's leaders would remain silent. But those in power knew that their survival had hinged on something far more ancient than technology, on a warrior whose skills had been passed down through generations, hidden in the shadows, waiting for the moment they were needed most. The Galactic Empire had sent their best, but Earth had sent a ninja. The ninja didn't hesitate once the mission was accepted. There was no need for hesitation, no room for doubt. The briefing had been clear: infiltrate the Empire's ship, eliminate the assassin squad, and prevent the fall of Earth's leadership. But for the ninja, the mission wasn't about the grander politics or the fate of the planet. It was about precision, about completing the task that had been handed down to them. This was what they had trained for all their life, and now it was time to deliver. The Galactic Empire was advanced in ways Earth could barely comprehend, but their reliance on technology was their weakness. They believed their superior systems made them untouchable, that no one could infiltrate their ranks without being detected. But the ninja had an advantage the Empire couldn't predict: a complete mastery of stealth that went beyond tech. Earth's governments had chosen wisely, selecting a warrior whose skills had been refined over centuries of practice. As the ninja approached the ship, the preparations were meticulous. Every step calculated, every movement planned to perfection. Infiltration wasn't just about sneaking past defenses. It was about becoming invisible, about blending so completely into the environment that even the most advanced scanners couldn't detect them. The Galactic assassins relied on their tech to spot threats, to map the space around them. The ninja, on the other hand, relied on instinct, something no machine could replicate. Entering the ship was effortless. The ninja moved like a shadow, slipping past barriers, sensors, and guards without leaving a trace. There were no wasted movements, no unnecessary actions. Everything was done with a purpose, every breath controlled. The ship's corridors were cold and sterile, the hum of machinery filling the space, but to the ninja, it was just another environment to navigate, another battleground where silence and patience were the deadliest weapons. Inside the ship, the assassins were unaware of the danger lurking in their midst. Their overconfidence was their undoing. They believed that anyone who tried to approach the ship would be detected long before they could even get close. But the ninja was already inside, watching, waiting. The assassins had no idea what was coming. The ninja didn't rush. There was no need for haste. Every step was measured, every move deliberate. The first kill was silent, the assassin never knowing what hit them. The ninja's blade struck with precision, ending the target's life in an instant, without a sound. The body was left where it fell, unnoticed by the rest of the squad. This wasn't about creating chaos or panic. It was about efficiency, about eliminating the threat with minimal effort and maximum impact. As the ninja moved through the ship, taking out one assassin after another, the tension grew. The remaining assassins started to sense that something was wrong, but they couldn't pinpoint the source. Their tech showed nothing out of the ordinary, no alarms were triggered, no signs of an intruder. Yet their squad members were disappearing. It was only a matter of time before they realized they were being hunted. But even as they became aware of the danger, it was too late. The ninja had already anticipated their reactions, already planned for their next moves. The assassins were skilled, but they relied too heavily on their gadgets, on their technology. They had no understanding of the art of true stealth, of how to move without being seen or heard. The ninja used this to their advantage, exploiting the assassins' weaknesses at every turn. One by one, the assassins fell, their deaths swift and silent. The ninja never stayed in one place for too long, always moving, always adapting to the changing environment. The ship's corridors became a maze of traps, with the ninja controlling every turn, every exit. The assassins had nowhere to go, no way to escape the fate that awaited them. In the quiet of the ship, the ninja continued their work, methodically dismantling the assassin squad. It wasn't personal. There was no hatred, no anger. This was simply the mission, a task that had to be completed. The ninja didn't waste time on unnecessary thoughts or emotions. Everything was focused on the goal, on ensuring that the assassins never made it to Earth. The remaining members of the squad were growing desperate, their communications with each other becoming frantic. But even as they tried to regroup, to find a way to counter the threat, they were already outmatched. The ninja was always 2 steps ahead, always anticipating their moves before they made them. The assassins had never faced an opponent like this before, someone who operated outside the bounds of their understanding, who didn't play by the same rules. It wasn't long before the ninja had eliminated most of the squad, leaving only a handful of assassins left. By now, they knew they were being hunted, but they still couldn't find the hunter. The ninja's ability to disappear into the shadows, to move without being detected, was something their technology couldn't combat. No matter how many scans they ran, no matter how many traps they tried to set, the ninja remained undetectable. With the squad nearly decimated, the ninja knew the time had come to confront the leader. This was the final step, the last obstacle standing between them and the completion of the mission. The leader was experienced, a veteran of many battles, but even he couldn't escape the ninja's reach. The confrontation would be brief, but decisive. The ninja had already won the battle long before the leader realized it. And so, as the ninja moved silently through the ship, they prepared for the final kill, knowing that Earth's safety depended on their success. This was what they had trained for, what they had been born to do. The assassins had never stood a chance. The assassin squad had been reduced to just a few, and now they were on edge. The silence that once gave them comfort was now their enemy. Every creak of the ship, every flicker of a shadow felt like a threat. They knew something was hunting them, but they had no idea what it was. Their technology, so advanced, seemed useless. There were no signs, no clear indicators of an intruder, yet their numbers continued to dwindle. The ninja, still hidden within the ship, observed the chaos unfolding. This was the advantage they had counted on: fear and confusion. The assassins were elite, trained to deal with any known threat, but the ninja wasn't something they could comprehend. The more they panicked, the easier they became to defeat. Their reliance on technology had blinded them to the reality of what they were facing. The ninja was a master of patience, able to wait for the perfect moment to strike. And when they did, it was always with precision, leaving no room for retaliation. One assassin, more desperate than the others, tried to set up a trap, using every tool at their disposal. But it didn't matter. The ninja was always ahead of them. Every move they made was anticipated, every trick countered. The assassin's advanced weaponry was useless against a warrior who could move without being seen or heard. The ninja wasn't just evading detection, they were erasing their presence altogether. There was no trace, no clue left behind. To the assassins, it was as if the shadows themselves were attacking. As the remaining assassins tried to regroup, the ninja continued to strike, always from the least expected direction. Their movements were swift and fluid, with no wasted effort. Each kill was calculated, precise, leaving no room for error. There was no glory in it, no grand spectacle. The ninja had no interest in making a statement. This was about completing the mission. The assassin squad leader was the last to realize how dire the situation had become. They had always been able to count on their squad, to trust in their skills and technology to get the job done. But now they were alone, the rest of the team gone without so much as a warning. The ship was eerily quiet, the kind of silence that only came after something terrible had happened. And the leader knew they were next. The leader tried to calm their mind, to focus on finding the enemy. But every attempt to track the ninja down failed. The ship's sensors, designed to detect even the smallest life form, showed nothing. It was as if the ninja didn't exist. But the leader knew better. The ninja was here, watching, waiting for the right moment. The leader had been in countless battles, faced down numerous threats, but this was different. This wasn't a fight against a predictable opponent. This was a game of survival, and the leader was losing. The ninja, still hidden, could feel the tension in the air. The leader was nervous, their movements betraying their fear. This was the final stage of the mission, and the ninja knew it had to be handled with the same level of precision as the rest. There was no room for mistakes, no space for carelessness. The leader was skilled, but they were fighting a battle they couldn't win. Their reliance on advanced tech, their belief in their superiority, was their downfall. With the rest of the squad gone, the leader had no backup, no one to rely on but themselves. They tried everything, scanning the ship, setting traps, preparing for an ambush, but none of it mattered. The ninja had already decided how this would end. The leader was simply delaying the inevitable. Every moment they spent trying to find the ninja was another moment closer to their defeat. In the darkness of the ship, the ninja moved silently, always staying out of sight. There was no rush, no need to force the final confrontation. The leader was already trapped, even if they didn't know it yet. The ninja's training had prepared them for this exact scenario, to eliminate the enemy without ever being seen, to complete the mission with minimal effort. The leader, despite their skills and experience, was no different from the others. They would fall just like the rest of the squad. As the leader made one final attempt to track the ninja, they felt a shift in the air. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but enough to send a chill down their spine. They knew then, in that brief moment, that it was over. The ninja had already struck. The leader didn't even have time to react. In a matter of seconds it was done. The ship, once bustling with activity, was now silent. The assassin squad, once feared across the galaxy, had been eliminated. The ninja, standing in the aftermath, didn't linger. There was no reason to stay, no need to gloat over the victory. The mission had been completed. Earth was safe, at least for now. The ninja moved through the ship with the same silence they had used to eliminate the assassins. There was no celebration, no acknowledgement of the feat they had just accomplished. It wasn't necessary. This was the life they had chosen, the path they had been trained to walk. The ninja didn't need recognition. The mission was all that mattered. As the ninja made their way out of the ship, they left no trace behind. The Galactic Empire would find their elite squad gone without explanation, their advanced technology unable to offer any answers. The Empire, for all its power and resources, had been outmatched by a single warrior. Earth had sent their best, and it had been enough. The ninja didn't look back. There was no need to. The mission had been completed with the precision and skill that had been passed down through generations. Earth's leaders would never know the full extent of what had been done to protect them. They would only know that the threat had been neutralized, that the assassins were no longer a danger. And that was enough. In the shadows, the ninja disappeared, ready for the next mission, whatever it might be. They had proven that even in a galaxy dominated by technology and power, there was still room for the ancient ways. The Galactic Empire had learned this lesson the hard way, and the ninja would ensure that Earth remained safe, no matter what came next. The assassin leader knew it was only a matter of time. They had been trained for every possible scenario, but this wasn't something they could prepare for. Their squad was gone, wiped out without a sound, without a trace. No alarms had been triggered, no warnings had been issued. The assassins had always prided themselves on their stealth, their ability to strike before their enemies even knew they were there. But now, they had become the prey. The leader tried to steady their breath, but the air felt thick, heavy. Every instinct screamed at them that the enemy was near, but there was nothing they could see. The ship was eerily quiet, the usual hum of machinery seemed distant, muted. They had been reduced to relying on instinct, something they hadn't needed in years. Technology had always guided them, but now it was useless. The enemy had made sure of that. The leader ran through their options, but none of them seemed to offer any real hope. Every defense they had relied on had failed. Their team, the best of the best, had been picked off one by one. And they hadn't even seen the attacker. It was a ghost, a phantom that moved through their ship like it owned the place. The leader's grip tightened on their weapon. They knew they had to face the enemy sooner or later, but every moment they waited felt like a lifetime. They couldn't figure it out. Who could possibly be capable of this? The Galactic Empire had conquered countless worlds, faced down armies, obliterated entire civilizations. They had never encountered a threat like this. Earth was supposed to be a backwater planet, insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Yet here they were, losing to an enemy they couldn't even see. As the leader's mind raced, they thought back to the briefing. The mission had been simple: eliminate Earth's leadership, secure the planet for the Empire. It was supposed to be routine. But someone on Earth had known what was coming. Someone had sent this thing to stop them. The leader's pride was wounded, but more than that, they were terrified. Not that they'd admit it, even to themselves. The enemy was playing a game the leader didn't understand. It wasn't about brute strength, it wasn't even about technology. The leader was starting to realize that this was something older, something primal. Whoever was out there, they weren't relying on fancy gadgets or overwhelming firepower. They were using patience, cunning, and most of all, fear. The leader had never feared anything before. They had faced down some of the galaxy's most dangerous creatures, fought in wars that left entire planets in ruins. But this was different. This wasn't a battlefield where they could see their opponent, where they could plan their next move. The enemy was everywhere and nowhere at once. And then, just as the leader was preparing to make one last desperate attempt to fight back, they felt it. A shift in the air. A presence barely perceptible but unmistakable. The ninja was here. The leader's body tensed, every muscle on high alert. They couldn't see the enemy, but they knew it was close. They raised their weapon, ready to fire at the slightest movement. But deep down, they knew it wouldn't make a difference. This wasn't a fight they could win. The ninja was a master of the unseen, a shadow that moved through the ship with precision and purpose. The leader had faced warriors before, but nothing like this. They had no idea how to counter an enemy that didn't play by the rules of war. The leader's technology had been their greatest asset, but now it was useless. The enemy was using something far more dangerous, the art of invisibility, of striking from the shadows. As the leader scanned the empty room, their mind raced with possibilities. They tried to predict where the attack would come from, but it was impossible. The ninja was too skilled, too unpredictable. The leader's training, their experience, all of it felt meaningless in the face of this unseen force. And then, in an instant, it happened. The attack was swift, silent, and devastating. The leader didn't have time to react. The ninja struck with precision, every movement calculated to end the fight before it even began. The leader had been outmatched from the start, and they hadn't even realized it. In those final moments, as the leader's strength faded, they understood something they had never considered before. The Galactic Empire, with all its power and technology, wasn't invincible. There were forces in the galaxy that they didn't understand, forces that couldn't be controlled or predicted. The ninja was proof of that. And Earth, the planet they had thought so insignificant, had just proven that it could defend itself in ways the Empire could never have imagined. The leader's vision blurred, the edges of their world fading into darkness. They had lost, not just the battle, but their belief in the Empire's superiority. In their final moments, they realized that there were things even the Galactic Empire couldn't conquer. And this ninja, this ancient warrior from a supposedly backward planet, had shown them that. The ninja didn't linger. The mission was complete, and there was no reason to stay. The ship was quiet now, the assassin squad eliminated. Earth was safe, at least for the time being. The ninja moved with the same precision and silence that had carried them through the mission. There was no celebration, no need for recognition. The mission had been completed with the same calm efficiency that had defined every move they made. As the ninja slipped away, they left no trace of their presence. The Galactic Empire would never know what had truly happened aboard their ship. They would search for answers, try to make sense of the loss of their elite assassin squad, but they would never find them. The ninja was a ghost, a warrior from the shadows, and the Empire's technology had no way of detecting something like that. Earth had sent its best, and the Empire had never stood a chance. The ninja had shown that sometimes, the old ways were the best. No amount of technology, no level of advancement, could match the skill of a warrior who had mastered the art of patience, stealth, and precision. The Galactic Empire had learned that lesson the hard way. The ninja's work was done, but the galaxy would never forget the message that had been sent. Earth wasn't a planet to be taken lightly, and its defenders weren't bound by the rules the rest of the galaxy played by. In the end, it wasn't about who had the most power, but who knew how to wield it in the shadows. With the assassin squad eliminated, the ninja didn't pause to reflect on the victory. There was no time for such things. The mission was over, and that was enough. They moved silently through the corridors of the ship, leaving behind no evidence, no trace of their presence. The Galactic Empire, for all its might, would never fully understand what had happened here. The ninja had made sure of that. Back on Earth, there would be no grand announcements. The people wouldn't know the details of what had transpired in the depths of space. They wouldn't hear about the quiet battle that had saved them from the brink of destruction. Earth's leaders, those few who knew of the mission, would breathe a sigh of relief, but even they wouldn't truly comprehend the skill and precision that had protected them. The ninja didn't need or want recognition. That wasn't the way. Their training had been about discipline, focus, and the ability to complete a task without attachment to the outcome. Victory wasn't something to celebrate. It was simply the result of being prepared, of mastering the art of staying unnoticed until the moment of the strike. The Galactic Empire would eventually discover their squad's fate. They would find the bodies, lifeless and silent, each one dispatched with surgical precision. But by then, the ninja would be long gone. No evidence would remain, no clues to follow. It would baffle the Empire's top strategists, leaving them searching for an explanation that would never come. The Empire had expected to dominate Earth with ease, to remove its leadership in one swift move. Instead, they had lost their best assassins, and no one could explain why. For all their technological advancements, the Empire had a blind spot. They couldn't understand how an opponent from a seemingly primitive planet could defeat their elite squad. To them, everything could be measured, calculated, and controlled through technology. But they had underestimated the human element, the power of skill and experience that couldn't be quantified by machines. Earth had been underestimated, and the ninja had shown them just how dangerous that mistake was. As the ninja made their way back to their hidden extraction point, the sense of completion settled over them. There was no need to rush, no urgency anymore. The job was done. Earth was safe, at least for now. But in the quiet of their thoughts, the ninja knew this wasn't the end. The Galactic Empire wasn't one to back down easily. They would regroup, strategize, and likely attempt another move on Earth. But that wasn't a concern for today. The galaxy was vast, filled with countless dangers, but the ninja had proven that Earth wasn't defenseless. Even in the face of overwhelming odds, there were still those who could fight back, who could defend the planet without needing the latest gadgets or the most powerful weapons. It was about knowing how to strike without being seen, about mastering techniques passed down through generations. This wasn't something that could be learned overnight. It was the result of centuries of tradition, of honing skills that the rest of the galaxy had long since forgotten. The Galactic Empire, in their arrogance, had believed they could crush Earth as easily as they had crushed countless other planets. But they hadn't counted on the ninja. They hadn't counted on the ancient knowledge that still thrived in the shadows of Earth's society. The Empire would likely view this as a fluke, an anomaly in their otherwise perfect record. But the truth was far more profound. They had been outclassed, not by superior technology, but by something far older and more powerful: human ingenuity. The ninja knew the Empire wouldn't stop. This wasn't the last time Earth would face such a threat. But they also knew that Earth's defenders were ready, hidden in the shadows, waiting for the next time they would be called upon. The galaxy didn't know it yet, but Earth had its own secret weapon. Not machines, not fleets of ships, but warriors who knew how to disappear into the night, who could take down an entire squad without leaving a trace. As the ninja returned to Earth, there was no fanfare, no hero's welcome. The world continued as it always did, unaware of the danger that had been averted. That was how it was meant to be. The ninja's role wasn't to be celebrated, but to act when needed, to protect without being seen. And so, life would go on, with only a handful of people ever knowing how close they had come to destruction. But the ninja didn't need recognition. The mission was complete, and that was all that mattered. In the quiet of the night, they would return to their life, blending back into the shadows, always prepared for the next mission, whenever it came. The galaxy was vast, and the threats were many, but Earth would endure, as long as there were those willing to stand in the darkness and defend it. The Galactic Empire had learned a lesson, though they might not fully grasp it. They had been outmaneuvered, outthought, by a single warrior from a planet they had considered insignificant. It wasn't the power of technology or the strength of armies that had saved Earth. It was the unseen, the ability to strike without being noticed. The ninja had proven that sometimes the greatest threats come from the places you least expect, from the shadows where no one is watching. And so, the ninja's work was done for now. But they would always be ready, always waiting. The galaxy was vast, but the shadows were even larger, and within them, warriors like the ninja thrived. Earth was safe, not because it had the most powerful weapons, but because it had protectors who understood that real strength came from knowing when to fight and when to disappear. The Galactic Empire had sent their best, and Earth had sent a ninja. The result spoke for itself.